Uh, very, very big and significant news. Jeff Bezos, Jeff Bezos, y'all, has stepped down from Amazon. We're going to get into all of that. So this week on Billionaires Watch, we're talking about the fact that Jeff Bezos has stepped down from his CEO position. Also, the FTC has released documents saying that Amazon stole $61 million of drivers' tips and was using that money to actually pay them their hourly wage. I'm going to get into that as well. And the replacement of Jeff Bezos, Andy Jassy from AWS. He is now the CEO of Amazon. Well, will be next quarter. So once again, let's talk about it. Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, has officially stepped down from Amazon. And there's a number of reasons circulating why. Of course, he released his personal reasons, saying that he wants to focus his energy on his other ventures, Blue Origin, Day One Fund, and he included an environmental fund as well that he wants to focus on. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. Nothing. I'm gonna take some words from Joe Biden. Nothing is fundamentally going to change. Nothing is fundamentally going to change. And I believe the reason why is because, how do you stop the richest man in the world from stopping his own paycheck? You don't, and stepping aside, it's just to, once again, I mentioned this on several interviews this past week. It's just to deflect the negativity that was drawn to him this past year. And I take some credit for that. So let's get into it a little bit. All right. So 10 months ago, Amazon workers all across the world started raising health and safety concerns. I wasn't the only one, but I definitely was a story that hit mainstream media all over the world. And ever since then, it's been an uphill battle against this company to hear us, to listen to us, to understand where the workers are coming from when it comes to working conditions in their own facilities. Jeff Bezos ignored the fact that we were unprotected. They ignored the fact that workers were getting sick, still to this day. They ignored the fact that workers are possibly bringing this deadly virus home to their families and loved ones, and also have died from COVID-19. I've heard it all, seen it all. We all have. And even there's still some stories out there that we haven't even heard about. And that's unfortunate part, is that there's stories out there now, voices, families that are destroyed by this company, by Jeff Bezos, by the way, and no accountability was really held against him. And Jeff Bezos decided to step down this year of all years. And, a number of things flow through my mind when I think about it. And I honestly sit here and say to everybody in the audience that I do not believe Jeff Bezos would have resigned this year had my story and the many things that came out against him this year existed. If I didn't do what I did, being a sacrificial lamb at my former facility, JFK in Staten Island, if I didn't raise the health and safety concerns about the coronavirus, who knows how long Amazon employees would have been unprotected. And if we didn't continue traveling, by the way, TCOEW, the Congress of Essential Workers, the organization that I founded, we traveled the country for the last 6-7 months, going to all of his mansions that we can Google at least or find, and protesting in front of his house, his mansions, all across the nation. And I'll give you some insight of what happened at certain locations. Starting here in New York City, this man paid probably the entire precinct just a few months ago when we was out there for Christmas, singing Christmas carols, but it was more for Amazon workers in solidarity. Shout out to the Church of Stop Shopping and Reverend Billy. and Savitri for showing up and bringing that amazing visual to our stories. They definitely paid the precinct to surround us. And now I don't mean just 1, 2, 3 officers. We're talking 20, 30 officers, zip tied, zip ties hanging from their waist, pulling up on motorbikes. They had a motorcade out there of bikes. They had the paddy wagon van, the van to put all of us in there and take us up, the county. They had that ready outside of his residence just a few months ago in New York City. When we went down to Washington over the summer in DC, and we all know DC has several, I don't even know how many different type of policing agencies and Secret Service and FBI and CIA and all types of law enforcement. We were surrounded once again by Secret Service, unmarked cars, people, no badges. Secret Service surrounded us in Washington, D.C. as we protested. We did set up a guillotine in front of his house. I'll throw that in there. We did do that. And I don't care, I'll do it again, and I will. We set up a guillotine in front of his house. It's not to incite that we're going to chop this man's heads off, but we're tired of the billionaires eating off of our backs, and it's time that they get the message. We're not going to stop fighting and advocating until we get what we rightfully deserve. So that was what that messaging was about, just for clarity, not to incite violence, because we know how these, we know how people want to twist things up and make it seem like, we're inciting violence. And I am a commie, though. Shout out to my co-host. That was for her. So yes, even when we went to Beverly Hills, at his $165 million mansion, a drone came out. And I'm not the only witness. It's verified. Follow the videos, watch the videos on Status Coop. An actual drone came out from his mansion and scrambled or disconnected our Wi-Fi and live streams right there on the spot as we were literally speaking, microphone in hand in front of his residence. Censorship, right? Power control. This is what these billionaires do. These big techs do. This is what Jeff Bezos has paid individuals to do. And I'm not saying it might have been him, but I'm pretty sure he paid a nice, decent penny to surveil not only the conversation that goes on between myself and workers, but for all the organizations all across the world. We heard the stories about the Pinkertons, the CIA intelligence that they have. We know that they fund police unions, ICE. Amazon funds all of these agencies, and we know that they have endless resources and an endless amount of money to use. And these are examples of, the reason why I believe Jeff Bezos had enough. We spent this last 10 months speaking up and pretty much changing the public opinion, the best to our ability. Amazon controls the propaganda. They control the market. They control the commercials they put out there. They control the information, the narrative that's put in the media. Even when we're telling the truth, it's our word against their word. And you're putting people in a position to pick a side. But I think we've been winning this fight. And I've said that to my team and my organization from day one. Small victories matter. Small victories matter. We've seen Tim Bray, a top VP for AWS, probably worked with Andy Jassy a lot, sat in meetings with him, definitely sat in meetings with him, with the both of them. He resigned in solidarity with the warehouse workers because of what happened, the retaliation and the toxicity of Amazon. And that's a prime example. I just believe that it finally gotten to the point where Jeff Bezos is saying, or his lawyer, his legal advice is saying, you know what? It's probably going to be in a better position for you to remove yourself from the situation. I have a lawsuit pending against Amazon right now. civil case. And in this civil case, Jeff Bezos can absolutely be called in for deposition. He absolutely can, to answer questions, concerns, and possibly be put on trial. Never know if it gets to that point. And it's a class action lawsuit, so it doesn't just represent me. And I purposely chose that route with my lawyers because I wanted to represent all of us, the entire workforce of Amazon. And Amazon is disputing it. I'll tell you details now. As of lately, Amazon is trying to dismiss my case. They're trying to dismiss my case of all cases because they're claiming, because of the way it's framed, the coronavirus affected Black and brown individuals 3 times the amount of other races. And this is actual facts. These are not made up things and just, wing and fly, or just because I'm a Black man, I'm using the race card. Absolutely not. Amazon's workforce, if you go to warehouses all across the nation, whether you're Black or brown, indigenous, immigrant, our workforce comes from low, impoverished, working class communities. That is the majority mass of Amazon's workforce. And when this company failed to protect us, we were the ones getting sick and dying the most. Just lost another Amazon worker just a few short weeks ago, Pushan Brown, who lost her life suddenly, 38 years old. And these are examples of how this company neglected to protect its workers, neglected to listen to the activists that were speaking up, the leaders that were speaking up, retaliate against us, exploit us, even tried to run a smear campaign. So once again, I strongly believe that Jeff Bezos stepped down for several reasons, but I will take credit, some credit for his resignation. And that doesn't mean that I take the foot off the gas and I relax. And none of us. Once again, we have to fight, continue fighting. Don't stop anything that we're doing. We have to, now is the time to actually apply more pressure than ever and let Andy Jassy know that we will direct the attention towards him. And let's talk about Andy Jassy real quick. Andy Jassy's been with the company over 20 years. He's been Jeff Bezos' sidekick the entire time. He's coming from AWS. So which means he doesn't really, he's in the same boat. He doesn't really know what warehouse workers entitle. What does it take to be a warehouse worker at Amazon? He's focusing more on the technical side. And he calculates and runs everything on metrics and numbers. If you hear the way he talks, he interviews, he brings up numbers and metrics like it's nothing. And that's how Amazon was completely ran. And I think Jeff Bezos was aware of that Andy Jassy was his biggest asset. And obviously, the best choice for him to take over was somebody who runs, who has knowledge in running a company with metrics and numbers. Everything they do is calculated. So Andy Jassy, from what I've learned in the past few days, this man supports facial recognition, CIA intelligence, surveillance. He supports, obviously he doesn't support unions. Once again, these people have sat on these board meetings, had made company decisions previously, and he's very much aware of how the machine operates. And if the machine is not playing in their favor, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do anything to jeopardize his pockets. Andy Jassy's mindset now is, I am now to be the CEO of Amazon, and my pockets, he's coming from a position where he's making over 350,000, something like that, a year. to now we're talking about billions of dollars a day, possibly. This man is not going to be any better. If you think that Andy Jassy is going to get in there and give all these workers a raise, give the hazard pay back, and provide PPE and do all these great things for workers, you are sadly mistaken. The fight continue, the saga continue, and we have to continue to fight and push forward. And we absolutely vowed and dedicated that already, and we will continue doing that. So once again, I want to thank you all for joining us here on Billionaires Watch. Stay tuned. Stay with us. It's a small world.